Breaking news, private health funds will postpone the April 1 premium increase for at least 6 months. The announcement is part of a large package of support measures to relieve pressure on consumers during the pandemic. For more, I'm now joined by News Corp national personal finance writer Sophie Elsworth. Sophie, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me.
No worries, Danica.
This is massive news because many of the insurers had actually been refusing to do so.
That's absolutely right. We were working stories on this up until Friday, Danica, where the private health insurers were saying, no, we are not pausing the premium hike that is due out on April 1, so just in a few days. Now, Greg Hunt and Scott Morrison came out just, in the last hour and said that is not the case. Premiums will now be delayed. So the premium rise that was due to happen on April 1 will now be delayed for at least 6 months. Now, Danica, this is a huge cost for families. A lot of people are dropping their private health insurance cover. So this could save them hundreds of dollars for the 6 months that the premium hike, which is an average of about 3% this year, is actually delayed.
And what would be your advice now to consumers to get the latest information on this and to see if they have been affected?
So I'd be contacting your fund tomorrow and seeing what the situation is. Now, it pretty much affects all funds, all open funds. So ones that anyone can apply to, there's no criteria. So we're talking about your big ones like your Medibanks, your Boopers, your NIBs. They will not be rising the premiums. So this is a huge win for consumers. And don't forget, these funds were really digging their heels in about this last week. They came out with a series of support packages, but very few of them were freezing the premium hikes. HBF in Perth said to me last week they were freezing it for 12 months. Defence Health were another, but majority of them were not doing this. So this is a massive step to hopefully give Australians a bit of relief on their hip pockets when they need it.
A big win for consumers, as you said. Now, Sophie, cash-strapped borrowers have rushed to get help from the banks during this pandemic, including the pausing of their payments. How many borrowers have actually wanted to pause or stop their home loans?
Oh, Danica, the uptake on this has been massive. So I did a story that's in News Corp papers today looking at how many have phoned the Big Four and asked for a mortgage deferral. The numbers were huge. So in just a week, 44,000 customers had contacted Westpac asking for a deferral. CBA had 27,000, ANZ 25,000 and NAB 14,500. So collectively, over 100,000 Australians banking with the Big Four have actually gotten through to the bank and requested a deferral, which is massive. And this means that they can get delays on their mortgage repayments for up to 6 months.
That's a lot of people. How are the banks coping with this influx?
Look, they can't cope. I mean, there's people who can't get through to the phone lines. I had a broker telling me it's taking him 2 to 3 days to even raise anyone at the bank. The banks have said to me, Danica, if you are trying to get a deferral, apply online. And what they will do is once they get to your deferral, they will backdate it to the day that you applied. So you do need to be patient here. That is easier said than done, though. There's a lot of very stressed people out there who have got no income coming in whatsoever and will not be able to make those mortgage repayments. So apply as soon as you can, because the sooner you're onto it, the quicker your application will get processed.
Yeah, some good advice there, given all the uncertainty. Now, Sophie, let's talk about the retail sector. We've seen this week a number of stores having to shut their doors across the country, and many are now operating online only. What sort of an impact will this have?
Oh, Danica, it's just devastating. I mean, hearing the news on Friday night that Myer were laying off 10,000 staff for the moment, shutting all their doors, is just so distressing for anyone to listen to, whether you work at Myer, whether you shop at Myer. The retail sector is hurting so massively at the moment. And, it brings a tear to our eyes to see these retailers having to shut their doors. In saying that, though, Danica, many of these stores are still operating online. So if you are in a position where you are, have got money coming in and you are still able to spend, please do support these retailers. We want to see them come out at the end of this, but the only way they're going to do it is by still operating, as much as they can in the situation that they've been put under. Within a few weeks, they've had to shut their doors.
You mentioned Myer. It's an Australian institution, and some 10,000 staff are now without pay. Can they survive this? I mean, this is a long time for them to be out of business. Can a company like Myer survive?
Look, Danica, who knows? I mean, I want to be an optimist and say, yes, they can. I hope that they can. But that is so unknown. I mean, they're going to have 10,000 people, Myer alone, who will, not be in the workforce. They'll be sitting at home with no job. So whether they can come out the other end, whether Australians still spend, I mean, a lot of us do not have incomes coming in. So it's hitting them from all angles. I mean, one of my favourite brands last night, R.M. Williams, they said they're closing their doors for the moment. I mean, they've survived World War II. They're an iconic Australian bushman's brand. I mean, we've got these brands that have been around for as long as we can remember and generations, and they're shutting their doors. So all people can do is hope to support them if they're able. And we do hope they come out the other end, but it's certainly going to be a very tough journey.
Absolutely, a very difficult time, and our viewers can read all about it in News Corp papers and online. Sophie Elsworth, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Tanika.